The story of the Batman of Earth Negative 22 was not much different from that of any other version of the Caped Crusader. When he was a boy, Bruce Wayne watched his parents get murdered in an alleyway. Vowing vengeance against the crime, he trained himself for years and became the hero Batman, fighting supervillains in Gotham City. Everything went sideways for Batman when the Joker started a killing spree across Gotham City. The clown had discovered that he was dying from the same chemicals that had turned him into what he was and wanted to take everyone with him. He murdered all of Batman's enemies, including the Penguin, Catwoman, Killer Croc, and the Ventriloquist. The Joker also killed Batman's friend, Commissioner Gordon, who accidentally sprung an acid trap in his notebook and melted his face off. Batman, later drugged by the Joker, temporarily paralyzed his body but not his mind, so he could witness the chaos he caused without being able to do anything about it. The Joker bombed the hospital in front of Bruce and, to make it personal, shot dead the parents of many young children in front of him before proceeding to inject the children with an incurable, irreversible strain of the Joker venom. According to the Joker, he did this in order to create a hybrid of both Batman and Joker. Batman eventually regained movement, and, so traumatized with anger over what he had witnessed, grabbed the Joker and broke his neck. Unbeknownst to Batman, though, the Joker exhaled a toxin contained in his heart, which infected anyone close to him if he died. In this case, it was Batman. 2 days after the murder of the Joker, Batman and Superman talked about what had happened. Though he felt no guilt, he affirmed that he was not planning to make killing a regular thing. Superman assured him that the Star Labs branch in Metropolis has agreed to take care of all the children who had been infected by the Joker venom. When Superman mentioned how one of the children bit one of the doctors, Batman let out a small laugh, which surprised both of them and alarmed Bruce. A day later, Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, Red Robin were training in the Batcave and talked to Bruce about the worsening condition. Though they all offered to help the Bat however they could, Batman rebutted that he didn't want any help and revealed that the real reason he called them was that he knew they would be the first to notice something was wrong with him and warn the other heroes. Something he could not allow to happen. And then he surprised them by doing something they were unprepared for. Pulled out a pair of hidden machine guns and shot them all dead. Bruce later convinced his son Damian to join his side and transform the boy with the Joker venom to be like him. He also retrieved all the Joker transformed children from the original attack and turned them into a new army of pet rabid robins. A week after Joker's death, Batman slaughtered the rest of the Justice League by using a stockpile of various villains' weaponry they had built up over the years. He synthesized a strain of black kryptonite and used it against Supergirl that drove her insane and forced her to kill her own family before killing her. On the Justice League Watchtower, he cornered Superman by releasing a kryptonite-infused gas into the air and stated that he didn't want to hold back anymore. Bruce then brought Clark's wife, Lois, and his son, John, before him. He told the Man of Steel to lie to his family that everything would be okay, which Clark refused. Bruce tossed a shard of black kryptonite at the Kryptonians and watched as the father and son went crazy and ripped Lois apart before they killed each other. As such, Bruce's transformation into the Batman Who Laughs was finished. The Batman Who Laughs went on to slaughter many of the immortal men before realizing how many of them truly were there in the world. The people of Earth Negative 22 fought back against the Bat treason, but Bruce annihilated everything they threw at him until only he and his Robins were all that remained. The last one to face him was his butler Alfred, who almost managed to defeat Bruce by rigging his cave, his vehicles, and all his equipment. However, by convincing Alfred that there was still hope for him, Bruce managed to trap Alfred in the lower level of the sub-caves. Bruce kept him a prisoner for a long time, feeding him scraps and whispering to him to drive him insane. Bruce managed to break Alfred to become his loyal servant again. As his world began to fade from existence, Barbados arrived and revealed the rest of the Dark Multiverse to him, and his plans to go after the true multiverse as well. Believing him to be the ideal Bat to help him, Barbados made Bruce the spearhead for his plans to drag all creation into darkness.
Hello and welcome back. Sorry. Hello, welcome back. We are covering the last element to my Dark Knights cosplay team, the Batman Laughs. I'm joined today by Cody. Hello. I don't have Alexis today. She's sleeping at her grandparents' house, but this is actually pretty good. Today's costume is actually right next to my daughter's costume with the dram. Probably one of the easiest ones that we've done compared to Cody's Red Death, which was a full suit uniform. So, all right, where should we start with this whole thing? All right, let's start with the headpiece here. All right. In the comics, you've heard me talk about this before, that it depends on who you look at and who you follow. The Batman Laughs headpiece has these little extensions that come down in one version, and another version it doesn't. But for this instance, I am not putting them on here. There are holes here at the bottom for magnets. I have to say I ran out of time to do that. So, but anyways, I built this headpiece out of just a regular old foam, quarter-inch foam you get at Michael's. Heat formed it to around my head and glued the ends together. I wanted to keep the actual width and height, if you can see here. I wanted to keep that, so I kept it kept heat form in it just to keep it so that it would keep the shape. I think I put some tape around it too at one time. There are, why don't you show them the inside? There are little areas inside for eyes here. Those are lined up precisely with my eyes. Why don't you show them the outside of it? I'll get into the painting later, but you can actually see the eyes right there. I also, at this juncture, I took chiffon fabric and glued it down across the whole face. Why did I do that? I wanted to hide the eyes. A friend of mine recommended for a different costume using chiffon. I think it was your Scarlet Spider, using the chiffon to see through for fabric, and it hides the eyes very well. So I glued it down, took the edges and glued them on the insides. These earpieces were actually spots cut into this foam just to keep everything really smooth on the inside, because it was going around my head and I didn't want some sharp edges from the bottom of the ears, the mounting places for the ears, to dig into my scalp. So it's just regular styrene plastic, nothing earth-shattering about it. I'm going to get into, I suppose those are painted to the same color. Okay, I'll get into these spikes. In the comics, they're actually fairly large spikes. I was having a hard time finding the large spikes. I suppose that I could have turned them on a lathe, or right back of me, you can actually see I now have invested in a 3D printer, which those spikes would be actually really good to make on there.
Yeah.
So, because they were like, I don't know, if I was to put a measurement on it, they're probably about a 1-inch diameter base spike, maybe coming out maybe about 2 inches. So, but I ended up finding these spikes on Amazon. I think I went with a, pardon me for putting this down, but a goth punk search for spikes. When you kind of put those words together in Amazon, it kind of gives you these, these kind of out of the world spikes here. They're not sharp, but they're blunt, but they are sharp enough, to put an eye out, obviously.
Yeah.
So carefully laid them out, going through, paying attention to, there was a spike right in the middle of the forehead, right between the eyes. Well, not forehead, but like the nose bridge area.
3, 2, 1.
And then I based it from there going out. They are held in by screws. When I was putting the chiffon on the backside, on the inside, I put a thin layer of E6000 glue going around the whole interior of it, knowing that I am going to put these spikes in. And I didn't want the screws to pull out through the foam to the point of being floppy and all that behind the chiffon. So, painting, that's very much. I'm actually looking around because I'm surprised I don't have that paint hanging out here. I keep saying it. I use the Rust-Oleum hammered for a lot of my metal-looking items. I wanted this helmet or this eyepiece to look as metal as possible, but kind of older and been around for a little bit. So I wanted that hammered look, like a scene in action. It does give it a little bit, but not that much. I tried to go a little bit heavier around the edge here. I want to say I think I took a silver. It looks like I took a silver paint over here. I might have took a silver paint. Yeah, let's put it this way. I put the basic around the whole edge of it because it does look like there is some paint marks here, but sprayed on the hammered effect. And I wanted to be careful around the eyes. I didn't want to build it up around the eyes. I knew that as soon as it goes on, it was going to absorb into the fabric. And I didn't want it to totally close off my field of vision, which you still have a very good, let me stand right there, Cody. Let's see, I'm going to put this over one of the eyes. It's not going to do what I want it. You can actually see through it just slightly. But I wore that at a con and walked the floor and really didn't have that much issue with it. I could still see out there. I could still see people. People flagging me down wanting to take pictures of this. It was actually really good. Let me show you. Like right now, looking through here, I can see the camera perfectly well. I can see my, no, my hands are moving, but I can see the camera's LCD and it's picking everything up. I see all my tools from my workshop right behind it, clear as day. It does have some restrictions looking around the sides, but all in all, it wasn't that bad. For the most part, if I was trying to watch the floor or trying to walk in a busy area, just trying not to bump into things, I could actually see below the visor at the floor. So, but all in all, it was actually a very comfortable piece to wear, actually, for like 8 hours worth. I want to say it is close to the original item, except for the size of the spikes. And I'm actually very pleased with this. I had a lot of people ask me how I made this, and like these eyes. You would think taking a picture with this, the eyes would show through, like someone would actually see the eyes. They couldn't even see the eye holes in the pictures. And it was a lot of people saying, "Hey, I'm right over here. I can see you. See right through here. I can still see." So, but I take pride in this. This was actually a very nice prop to have. Sitting with my other props. Granted, it's part of the costume, but I'm going to call it a prop for now. So, all right. So let's go with this. Now, I didn't put this on the costume, but I wanted to show you. This is the hood piece that I wore over the head. As you can see.
Like a scuba mask.
Yes. Just like a scuba mask. But it isn't. I should have used that. This was a head sock. It had the eyes cut out, but that was it. It was just purely a head sock. I'm trying to remember where I got this, but when I got this, I'm like, I think it went to something else. I'm not sure. But when I got this, it was like, I'm not going to use it for that other thing. I know exactly what I'm going to use this for. So I cut out most of the face because obviously in the comics you can see that everything below the nose was open. For me, I didn't want to go beyond the nose and the eyes and all that. I already covered that up pretty good with the headpiece. But this is just some standard old, I don't want to call it even spandex. It's just a stretchy material, barely see-through, transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
What about that? Can you see through that?
Yeah.
And I use the Plastidip. I think this is the red, but once again, Plastidip, one of the cosplayer's friends. I actually use this mannequin right here for this, and I wrapped the head in plastic wrap, knowing well that Cody could attest that, that this is not going to hold back much liquid.
No.
So I didn't want my mannequin to get all gumped up with Plastidip. So and actually, the worst part, having it stick to here, not be able to pull it off. So I put the mask on. I didn't cut it at that time. So it It was one whole piece, and I want to say I put, it had to be about 4 or 5 layers, thick layers of plastic dip on this. I wanted it to keep the stretch to go over my head. It's, yeah, it still has some give. I wanted this, the stretch to still be there, but I wanted it to have a leather plasticky look, and it did have the rubber look. Sorry, not the plasticky, but the rubber. It did have that look right here, I believe. Because the original Batman cowl is more like it's rubber, you know, has the rubber look in there, not necessarily leather, but down at the bottom to go with the shirt, there are some snaps here. I put it in because this was riding up a little too much when you put the shirt piece on. It was riding up, and the collar of the jacket would push it up. So I opted to go with some quick snaps. I think I put that on, we did Granite Con with this, and I think I just put the snaps on like literally like the night before. So, but it did its job. It just kept it down. There was a few times where it did pull up. My wife helped me out with getting that cleared up. But I suppose if I did it again, it does give me enough where it can pull down. I might put just some elastic straps on the bottom of it just to keep it down. But once again, you know, it did its job. I suppose like every costume, I say if I did it again, I did it again. You know, hindsight being 20/20, you know. So, and then I cut the face out. It was easier to cut the face out once the plastic dip was dried. So, and you could actually inside here. Let me show you guys. It did do exactly what I thought it was going to do. It was going to stick. And this is just a plastic wrap. It stuck to some of the plastic wrap. No one saw it. No one saw the inside of it, except for you now. It didn't do any difference with the wear. You still sweat horribly in it because because with the plastic dip, with the plastic dip, you just covered it right up. You know, hence the non-breathable. But that's the hood and the headpiece. The face, I do apologize. I don't have the face with me right now, but these pictures that I'm showing you now are actually a very good representation of what the face did. Actually, the face now, it was made from liquid latex, so it's starting to really get binding up, if you want to say, or really stiffening up. But I started with a face cast of my face, and I built the facial prosthetic off of that. I went over it with some liquid latex, just run of the mill. Run of the mill liquid latex right off of Amazon. Put it on. It creates awesome 3D scars and wrinkles. So, Cody actually was, he's going to a trade school now, and they're doing what they call exploratory of various shops. And one of his shops, they let them do some scar makeup, or scarring in it. And he actually came up with some pretty interesting things. I want to say Jonah Hex comes to mind with the image that he showed me. So
That's what I originally based it off of.
yeah. But anyways, I took that liquid latex and I put a few coatings over the top of it. I say a few, it was more like 4 or 5 to start with. I wanted a good base to go over the top. And then I ordered, keep looking over here because I thought for sure I had the box still, but it's not necessarily false teeth, they call them veneers. And it's a plastic, heat-forming plastic veneer that you can put in hot water and put it over your teeth, and mold them to your teeth, and it makes it look, real. And then they get some beads or something like that come with it to, make the plate to have it close right in. So, and the exact name's throwing me, but I'm pretty sure I'll have it up here. So I got the top and bottom pieces, and I used the liquid latex as a glue to put these in, and I put a bit of liquid latex on there just to make sure that they didn't fall off, and then to make the exaggerated smile that the Batman Alas has, I proceeded to use a liquid latex with cotton, and I made some very thin lines and built up some generic lips to go around. I was just telling Cody how you make that into the scarring. When I get into my Freddy Krueger costume, you will see that the whole mask I made that way. And it actually comes out with some very impressive burn scars. So, but it was just a matter of just making some of these exaggerated lips. I built it up a little bit around the teeth because obviously I was limited with depth for the teeth. So because of it was going over my existing face, so I had to build it up and do whatnots to it. So it did come out actually really good, as you can see. I then used some basic Liquitex white, and I went with the Paint Rule 3, the third liquid latex, the third still water, and the third latex paint. So I used the basic Liquitex and I mixed it all up. I wanted it to maintain the movement of my face, because when you put it on, I glued it right down to my face. So I wanted like the cheekbones to move and the mouth sort of to move. I couldn't open up the teeth just because of how it was built. So I wanted it to maintain the flexibility.
As much flexibility as you can.
Yeah. I sprayed the whole thing over. It was hard to keep the teeth separate, but with the teeth, what I did is I put a layer of Vaseline over the teeth, because paint doesn't adhere to the Vaseline. So it was actually very easy just to take an X-Acto knife and a little pick and just kind of pick out the paint from the teeth and wipe down the teeth at that point, wipe it out, rub it alcohol, whatever. And then I hand painted the interior with, I want to say it was more of that basic Liquitex. I don't think I went with anything else with that, but I painted over the inside of the mouth to make it look red, and I did some light spraying of some brown on the mask itself, because I didn't want a fully white. I wanted a more of a pale pastel, white of a skin, kind of, I don't want to say zombie white, but I wanted that transparent white look going on. Because I mean, the Joker did have white, and you heard in the origin that he's kind of a mixture of Batman and the Joker, in a sense, tongue in cheek, with a grain of salt type deal. So it worked out extremely well. Putting it on, I had excess so that when I put the hood on, the face would hide underneath the hood, and it came up right under my eyes here. So it, pardon me. So it went right under my face covering. Very, very nice. I did cut out a little bit in the back of the teeth. I had a space between the teeth for air. I couldn't drink with it. If I did, you would have to give me a straw and really narrow it down. So, being on the con floor, Cody in his costume, you know, I was feeling bad for him. I couldn't do anything of mine because I would have to take the whole mouth right off. So we did do a few breaks throughout the day so that we could do what we needed to. I think Alexis was the only one that could do. Sorry, she was hot. She, you know, with that rubber hood on her or rubber cowl on her. So, but all right. But other than that was it for the face itself. Not as in depth as the Red Death, and I keep pointing this side because the Red Death is still set up over here, right next to Cody. I need to actually put that back away in storage. So, all right. Well, let's. Where do we want to talk first? I mean, I want to hit the jacket, but where do you want to hit the jacket? There's a few different elements in this jacket. Why don't we talk about this piece, this shoulder piece? In the comics, you obviously see that he does have a shoulder piece. Comes down around his breast area and up to the back. It's just, it doesn't look all that right, you know, because the mannequin's not, you know, not up straight, but it does come down. It's made out of 2 layers of the 1/8 inch foamies from Michaels. I made the bottom layer 1 full piece, or as close to full piece as I could. I think I used 3 different pieces with this, and I taped them together with like a black duct tape, very similar to this stuff. On the bottom where nobody actually would see it. On top, I then cut out these strips. There's these strips that go all the way, each strip, one shoulder to the other, and I glued them down. I wanted it looked like it was a leather piece in the comics, and so I wanted to maintain the leather look. So I took some tin foil, crumpled it up, then opened it back up. So now I have all these wrinkles in it. And I took an iron and I just turned it on, I don't know, hot setting or whatever setting. Just a hot setting, you know, hot. Yeah, that's it. Just give me an iron. Just say cold or hot. Cold to shut it off and hot to, you know, whatever. So I ironed it on and it ironed the creases back into, well, ironed the creases from the tinfoil into this. So I then glued it down. When the glue was done, it was a matter of I needed to paint it. So I used more of the Plastidip that I used on the head to paint it. I wanted to keep that shininess, and between the ironing of the aluminum foil and the Plastidip, it gives you a very much of a faux leather feel to this. Other than buying the faux leather fabric that I'm so fond about, this is actually, if you're doing the foam crafting, I'm not a big foam crafter, so, but doing the foam crafting, if you wanted to get leather from a piece of foam rubber or foam, that's what you do. Alright, when that was done, it was time to decorate this. And I say decorate because these are pure decoration purposes. They serve really no need. There are, as they go around, randomly there are stitching on here, and there are some that's not perfect and some that are. I did it purposely that way, just because I wanted, you know, this guy is just crazy. He's just gonna do whatever he's gonna do. So let's just quickly pull this off, Cody. I'll get into these buckles when I start talking about the rest of the costume, because they're built the same way. So, as you can see, the back, got that duct tape, and like I was telling you, got a lot of these stitching. You see it in some of the comic images, and I thought they actually gave a very nice aesthetic feel. This is just canvas strapping by at Walmart. Actually, this size, I think you had to actually order it, because I think Walmart has the 1-inch strapping like on the jacket here, but that probably was the easiest thing to build in this whole costume, because everything else took a little time, took a little thought to get into. So, but that's it. That's the shoulder piece. So, all right, now let's get into the jacket. All right, the jacket base proper is a jacket that I found at Salvation Army, of all places. Salvation Army has, when I was in school, Salvation Army had a bad rep. I'm not going to get into it, but and everybody was like, well, if you're doing costume work and you don't want to spend that much money, Salvation Army could be your place to go. I've seen them have black leather jackets there, which I want to go back to see if they got anything for my Crow costume, the Eric Draven costume. I haven't done yet, but soon. But this was just a regular, it was a hip length jacket. I wanted it longer, but they didn't have anything really at the time. So I'll get into the details after, but it was just a regular jacket. I had to extend these cuffs out a little bit. So this actually had another layer inside, I think. Oh, no. You know where these cuffs came from? The closure, the jacket closure here. I cut off the jacket closure and I made cuffs out of it. Of all things, made cuffs out of it.
It works.
Yeah, it does. Because it was actually a little bit short for me. So it came up. I'm doing this. See, it came to here. Yeah, it came to there. So I extended the arms out. And I did make my own collar. What material I had left over, I made collar out of. If you see this in the comics, you see him. He has this luxurious collar that comes up huge, and it was had some purple inside. And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna do that? So I ended up making the collar short in the back, longer on the sides coming up, and sewed it in. And to keep it upright, to keep it like this, just pure amateur wire you find in Michael's. You could, if you are from the New England area watching this, you could actually see me either in Sturbridge, Michael's, which I live probably about 20 minutes from there, or the Killenly, Connecticut Michael's in the Killenly Commons, because I work down the street from there. And you can see me in either one of them. The Killenly one, you see me in quite often. And I'm into buying stuff custom all the time. So, the armature wire came into play because you could bend it around, you could do all kinds of stuff, and it actually takes quite a bit of back and forth to break it. It's not like other metal wire type deal and coat hanger or something like that, and it breaks. All right, so that's the collar. These straps, let's get into these buckles. Everywhere on this jacket that you see buckles, they're all handmade. Yes, I didn't want to spend a ton of money on just buckles. I couldn't find just plain buckles. I would have to go to how many Salvation Armies or how many Walmarts or wherever to find the exact same buckles. I needed, what, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. 12, 24. I got larger ones there, but 24, 27 there for the small ones. The larger ones, 3, 6, 9, 12. I needed 12 buckles, and you know, for that, for the large, and 29 for the small. You could just imagine how much that was going to cost. I found a site that was willing to sell me the same buckles, but they wanted $3 a buckle. Nope. So I made these out of armature wire. Now I didn't look online for any references or so, or I'm sorry, I did look, I couldn't find any references. So I opted to do a design myself. Kind of reminds you of the old style S shape computer graphic, but I exaggerated them out so that the ends of like the, pardon me, but the S's would match the center bar going through here. You could actually, you know, you'll see these images that gives you a better idea of what I did. Just did them up. I sat on the couch, bending these around, watching TV. I want to say it took me about a week and a half, maybe two, to actually do these buckles. Not the tongues, yeah. The tongues are actually wire that you also find at Walmart, Michael's, but they're more into like the jewelry making, and they got a thicker wire in there. Bent them around. The tongues I wanted, you know, I didn't want these flimsy things, so I just bent them around, brought them down, and had twined them individually around the centers. That took a long time to accomplish. So all these buckles are all handmade. I wish I could show you what the process, but you have to rely on these pictures because they're actually all sewn onto these the straps. Now, with that being said, I glued the. Yes, I opted to glue these straps on instead of sewing them. At this time, I was getting really fed up with these straps and these buckles and you know, whatnot. And, hey, Nutmeg, my little cat decided to come join us here. This is Nutmeg. She's my little love bug. Her and her brother, Gizmo. Anyways, so I opted to just glue these down. They held up quite a bit. The belts themselves, I used a leather punch on those and actually took a flame and just kind of melted the edges a little bit. Coming down. These are just aesthetic on the cuffs. They're not working. Same with these. They're not really working for the costume. They were just, you know, there. These straps, yeah, they were working for the costume, but they're, you know, wasn't holding anything. Actually, I don't think these things could ever hold anything. You know, if I told Cody to grab this side and yank, I think we'll just tear this whole thing right apart. This chest piece, you do see this happening in the comic images. I want to say I went a little more than what the comic actually shows, but I am just curious now. Okay, I had to Nutmeg's getting into stuff, so if you hear stuff moving around, so. When I made this chest piece, I made this chest piece first, okay, before getting into everything else here. I took the chest, or took all these straps and I figured out where I wanted them to be. Can you hold that open? Figured out where I wanted them to be, and I did you can't see it right here, but there was a chalk line going down through here. And let's see, what did I do first? Did I sew? Yeah, sorry, I had a step before that. I did sew these together. I used a very thin zigzag stitch on each and every one of them. And then I applied E6000 glue to the whole back just to keep it together. Alright. I think this is the most sturdiest piece there is, next to, obviously next to clothing here, but this is the sturdiest piece. You can see I do have a zipper here. The matching ends right here because the ease of getting in and out of it. I didn't think anybody wanted to be necessarily being, strapping this together. Once again, this is just pure. There's really no purpose to them. Yeah, I could still have this zipped, and you could still unstrap them and get out of this, but 12. Well, if you do one side, I don't think you would do it for both sides, but doing one side, 12 buckles. I don't think Cody wanted to be helping me in this costume.
No, that's just not like
Yeah.
it would work.
So, I installed this zipper. It's one of those heavy-duty zippers from Walmart. Yeah, the heavy-duty zippers, they're quite large. So cut them off, put a little gobble glue at the top so that the actual zipper doesn't fly off. But that's it for it. It took me, quick to explain, but it took me forever to do. Because, keep in mind, I had to sew each and every single one of these buckles by hand. I couldn't use a sewing machine on it because where I was sewing would have hit the I suppose I could have just put a small stitch, but it's all hand stitched. Every single one of these. Pain in my you-know-what. So, okay. There you go. The bottom of this jacket, the hemline here, like I said, it was waist height. And obviously in the comics you do see them with tails coming off. So I had some extra fabric. This is a, what do you want to call it? Plastic coated, I think. Fabric plastic coated back. It's like a canvas, waterproof canvas type deal. So I sewed that to the bottom of the jacket to go around, and I cut each and every single one of these myself. I don't think you helped me on this one. So I didn't care if this frayed a little bit on the bottom or so. With the Batman Laughs, he's been around for a while. He's fought a lot of people. He's killed a lot of superheroes. He's done a lot of stuff. It's not like he,
He's also crazy.
Yeah, it's not like he turned crazy and then boom, So with this jacket, I want to say it was a rain jacket at one time. So knowing that liquid or rain would not penetrate the jacket, I knew that putting a light coat of plastic dip over the jacket would do its purpose. I was looking for, once again, leathery, rubbery essence, and it did give me that. Some of the jacket had more than others, which I didn't care. Who cares? So, but that is the jacket. Oh yeah, the shoulder piece had a snap that corresponded with the back of the jacket. Yeah, you see here, I had a piece of tape holding it on, but there was a snap on the back here that the shoulder piece actually snapped to. So, but nothing on the back. And it was it. Alright. Let's talk about this shirt. Okay. I think it's sawdust all over that one. Oh well. Alright, anyways. You did see that Batman in the comics, he had, the Batman Laughs, had like this chest piece, and it looked like it was straps going through of some kind. I couldn't tell exactly, and this was up to everybody's interpretation. So I ended up purchasing a old leather jacket, Salvation Army, and cutting it up. It was a very thin leather jacket. I cut it up for these strips to go through. I did put some horizontal strips through here, and I used very little glue on this. I did, to get the final product, I did sew it down, but I wanted to hold it in place first before I sewed it. So you have these horizontal straps here, and then we went with these diagonal. And I wanted to get that kind of basket weave type, horizontal going. So I didn't do the full thing because right about right here is where you had your abdomen piece, the abdomen straps. So as soon as I got everything down and had the light glue on there and positioned where I wanted, I went over with the sewing machine all through, down through here, and all the way up to hold it in place. And it did, and I mean it's still holding up now. I mean, I can pull this whole thing off. My cat is, once again, she's being a pain in the ass. She's got to come through the ceiling anytime now. I got a wall next to me that goes up. I'm in my basement, so I got the rafters for the floor above me, and she comes through every once in a while to the rafters because the other side of the wall there's some shelves. So this is just a regular t-shirt, Planet Fitness t-shirt. So it was, I like comfort, and you heard me say this again, time and time again, especially with the Red Death, Lexus's Drown. I'll say it with this too. I build it for comfort. I build my costumes for comfort. If you're not comfortable and you're going around the con floor, you can be really, really agitated. My wife and I went to, just a side story, my wife and I went to Celebration 4 in Los Angeles. And it was when Alexis wasn't born yet. Cody was probably about 2 or 3. And we left home with with his grandparents, my in-laws. And we went out there. And I saw this one guy dressed, you'll get a kick out of this too, dressed as a stormtrooper, but he was the Luke Skywalker in stormtrooper disguise.
Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?
Yeah. Had the blonde hair, the bowl cut blonde hair and everything. But he was walking very gingerly. He's been on con floor for a few hours. Actually more than a few. Just by how he was walking. He was obviously in a lot of pain and whatnot. And I know that the stormtrooper boots for the 501st, I know they can have a tendency to be a little uncomfortable. I think they've done better with them now, suggested some inner soles or something like that. I'm not sure, but I know that he was really hurt. And then it was right at my point where I was like, I really would like to get into the cosplay idea, and that's when I started getting into my Galactic Marine build. And so I wanted to have costumes that were comfortable to to walk in through the whole day, and just be able to move around, breathe in it, and do all this, but also be able to take off with ease. I I know those last two did not, when I did his costume, did not come into play. It was a little bit of work getting in and out, but it was actually comfortable to move in. So, but it was it had its limitations. So, but a regular old run-of-the-mill T-shirt, you know. So, my pants that I wore, nothing earth-shattering with them. Just regular. I think they were black twill pants or so, kind of comfortable pants that I typically wear to work with a, you know, these pants with a T-shirt and a pair of sneakers, and they actually look really good. The reason why I said it is when you refer to twill, you think of, oh, you know, someone in a suit and all that. But no, these pants were actually very casual pants, and I wore them with this costume. You know, once again, comfort and ease of motion. I suppose I could have went and did some leather pants. Spend a fortune on leather pants. I say that now because I just bought some leather pants, or faux leather pants, for the Eric Draven costume, which would be actually really nice for this. I do have some faux leather pants that I bought off of Amazon. That's more of the plasticky. When they market it as faux leather, they should look like leather. At least these were not. These were literally plastic, stretchy plastic. So the boots that I used, you know what? I know Cody had a specific boot that he wore for his. It could have.
3, 2, 1.
I could have used a similar ones for this, but I decided not to. Okay, I wanted to go with a little bit of a different one, a different look. Here we go. Yes, they do look uncomfortable, and you know what? They were actually very comfortable with the sole. After a while of walking on them, you really don't notice it. You know, when your foot falls asleep, or you know, you're in so much pain. But no, these I bought off of Wish, I believe. I'm just trying to see if I put any insole on them. I don't think I did, but they actually had a fairly spongy sole inside, because the sole was rubber, hard, very hard rubber. Why does it look like I painted those? But anyways, but I thought these were fitting for the Batman laughs. Lace them all up, kind of cheap ass laces. You know, I keep pulling and pulling and pulling. Long laces. So, but that actually concludes my Batman laughs. I did use some white paint. I don't have any over here. I did use some white cream paint on my arms and my hands to kind of go with the face, with the washed out or pale look to the face. I put it on with my hand. You know, it was a stick cream, so I put them on and I rubbed them around and grabbed my daughter and brushed her face because I wanted that for the drown too, that palish look. But other than that, this is it. There was really nothing to the costume, minus making the buckles. That was the long part of it. So each part of the costume had its uniqueness that I had to deal with. Cody's is just the whole costume, the whole body. Alexis's was converting an adult size rubber mask into a child size rubber mask, and making it. Yeah, of course it was. You know, had some difficulty to it. But this, it was just the buckles and the face, and that was it. Probably a little bit of the headpiece. You know, gave me a little trouble, but nothing major. Yeah, I did cover the snaps. You can see here I got a snap here, here, and here for that hood piece. It just dawned on me. just like I asked both Cody and Alexis, I'm gonna answer. Well, why don't you ask me? How comfortable? Ask me general questions about the costume.
How comfortable is this?
This costume was actually pretty comfortable. You heard me earlier with the boots. It was actually had some. It does have some drawbacks. It's positive and negatives, but for the most part, it was actually really comfortable to wear. Taking the jacket off, I could take the jacket off in the room, and take the face off in the room, and that's it. I can actually cool down. I didn't need to fully strip out of that. So, my hearing was actually quite good in it. I covered the vision. You see the pictures. Cody and I joined the costume contest together. I wanted the three of us in a costume contest, but you had to be over, I think it was over 16, 15, 16 for the group, and it's like, okay. But we did have some fun. Took some photos with some friends of ours, as you know, coming through here now. I actually, ever since the conception of the Batman That Laughs in the comics, I've actually fallen in love with this character for some reason. I like the villains for some reason. I do like the heroes, but I like the villains too. You know, I'm a Emperor Palpatine, Ultron, Batman That Laughs type of person. You know, I like my Batmans and I like my Supermans. You know, I like everybody. It's just there's some villains that I can't walk away from. Now, with that being said, I do have a Joker costume that I put together, and to complete this trifecta, I am working on a Batman costume. Why am I saying that? I decided that I wanted to do a Joker. We don't have really much Jokers in my area, so I opted to go with some of the highs and lows, or some of the highs from various different elements out there for the Jokers. As you can see coming through, this Joker that I did is supposed to be the Joker that was giving Batman a hard time in the origin comics, and Batman ended up killing him and becoming the Joker himself. I'm putting together a Batman costume, once again, a few different elements, and I haven't really made any progress with it. I got some house stuff that I'm working on, and I decided that I just need to take a minute. You know, we have this pandemic going on. I have no real deadline or time frame. I suppose I should be working on. I got Nightwing, I got Wonder Woman, I got a Batman I'm working on. So, but now since everything's they're lifting a lot of things on it, I probably should get working on it. But I do want to get just that Batman and that Joker and what this costume kind of derives from. So, but with that being said, I think that we can wrap this whole thing up right now. I've taken up enough of your time and I've rambled quite a bit. I haven't given Cody any time to talk. You have anything that you want to add to this or anything like that?
You had a lot of ability in this test.
Yes. So, any other things that you want to add? Just anything in general, not about this costume, but about anything else, you know? No? Okay. So, with this being said, I'm going to let you guys go. I do appreciate you stopping by, sticking with us till now, and you have a great week, wherever you're watching it. I want to actually start something. I want to plug my webpage, www.jerrycp.com, and you can actually see some of these costumes. I have some sections for all these costumes. It's only me, so I am working on trying to get that up and going. So be a little patient. I'm enjoying these videos. So, all right. So take care and have a good one.